very brief introduction to blockchain before I go into the blockchain-based DNS. It's a kind of an animation. You know that DNS is a hierarchical structure. You go and buy a domain, okay, either from your country CCTLD. For India, you go through India and then apply for it. I mean, there are so many registers that they approve it. And .in is actually governed by ICANN, okay, the central agency which controls the top level domains in the world. So there is a kind of censorship possible, surveillance is possible. Okay, suppose I don't like a particular domain to be created, I can actually simply stop the domain being created by I have the control over that particular nation or particular top level domain. But in a blockchain DNS, what it promises to you is it says that you can escape from the regulators, okay, and you can add new TLDs. Today I cannot create, let us say, a new TLD like simply like conference, something is not possible because I need to take permission from ICANN and things like that. And it's not going to be easy, and you need to, application fees is $1,80,000, and then you need to pay for other things and hosting and things like that. So what you do in blockchain DNS is, you know that this kind of blockchains are there. Bitcoin is one of the examples. Ethereum network is there. So many blockchain networks are there. So blockchain is a network of independent nodes, each with full knowledge of all existing websites, all existing domain names. That's what is recorded in the blockchain network. So this is what happens in the blockchain DNS. And then your query, whatever you are querying, as Mr. Sanjay was saying, that it will go to the recursive resolvers and then go to the root DNS servers, will not happen here. Instead, your query will go to your peers. If you are in a blockchain network, your query, whatever query you want to query, will go to the peers actually. The peers will find out where the address is, and then they will resolve it and give it to you. So the DNS lookup tables are shared over the complete P2P network, and this is a completely decentralized one. So that is the thing. And these are the advantages of the features of a blockchain DNS. And here you don't have any authority, typically speaking. And every node in the server, every node in the blockchain server is equal and completely decentralized. Okay, nobody can exclude anybody with this thing. And it also gives you a feature that only owners of the particular domain will be able to make this thing. So let us say that I have created a domain called .conference, and I will only be allowed to make any changes in that because I will be holding the private key for it. And the most important thing, the cache poisoning and DNS spoofing attacks are not possible here. Okay, because the data is completely distributed and across the nodes at the peer level, and you can get the values from everywhere. And there are already blockchain-based DNS services which are already in existence. One of the first one was Namecoin, second one was DNS, and third one was BlockDNS, BlockStack, and ENS is a special one which I'll tell you later. But before that, blockchain is a very special problem. Actually, it is called as a Zuko's triangle, which is basically called a trilemma. In the sense, there are three factors which you really like to have. One is scalability, another is security, third is decentralization. Zuko's triangle says that you will not be able to achieve all three of them at the same time. Okay, so blockchain also suffers from that particular concept, is what their claim is. So if you at any given point of time, you will be able to only solve two of them, or able to have two of these problems solved, either scalability or security, or scalability or decentralization, either of them. So this is a trilemma. So this applies to the DNS-based blockchain also, because DNS is what? This is nothing but a name. You are a name. You are actually giving a name to your protocol. So it claims that blockchain systems can have only either any of the two of these three properties. Onion, have you heard about the TAR network? TOR, anonymous networks. So a lot of this thing. Bitcoin addresses. Actually, we were just talking about blockchain and currency, digital currency for today's animation. So Bitcoin addresses are also all secure and decentralized, but not human meaningful. If you have looked at a Bitcoin address, it will be looking like 01F, something like that. So you will not be able to, it will not relate to you, it will not have any meaning to you. So these are the problems. If the Bitcoin kind of things, you are able to achieve security, but you are not under decentralization. But this one, human meaningfulness is not there. And next one is about the DNSSEC. DNSSEC of course offers you human meaningful names, but it is not decentralized. So there is a problem with the naming protocols. Naming protocols also you are not able to satisfy all these three features simultaneously. So this was actually, this phylum was proposed by this person called Zuko Willox. So there are some solutions which was proposed. One solution was that this property can be solved up to the limit of Byzantine fault tolerance. I just did not give you an introduction about Byzantine fault problem or Byzantine problem or Byzantine general problem. It's something like this. Let us say there are a group of generals are there. Let us say assuming a war condition. Okay. Let us say there is 3 generals are there. Okay. Now all the 3 generals have to decide and attack the enemy country, or they have to decide that they will not attack. Okay. But we don't know, some of the generals may be traitors themselves, or they may not be able to communicate with each other because they are lying in different locations. So that is a problem called Byzantine problem. So now how do you solve this Byzantine problem? I have told you 3 generals are there. So now in 3 general case, we will go with the majority. 2 generals say that we will go and attack. Yes, we can all of the 3 will decide and attack. If 2 of them, the majority say that we will not attack, the 2 of them will stop. Others will stop and go. But let us say if I am one of the fellow among the 3 is a traitor, then what he can say is, he can broadcast the saying, who wants to attack will say that let us go and attack, and who wants to don't want to go for the war, he can say that let us not go for the war. Something like that he can say. So this possibility is also there. So he can broadcast 2 messages within the network and confuse the other 2 people. So this is a very big problem. But this problem can be solved to a certain extent. In the sense that when you have more number of people, let us say 10 or 9 people are there. If at least one, you can, if 9 people are there, you want only 3 of them are your traitors, then you can manage. So that is a formula which is called as Byzantine fault tolerance. Okay. If 3 are traitors among a 9 people, then you will be good. So it's a multiplication of 9, 3n. N people are there. You can afford to have people n divided by 3 as your number of traitors in your group. So that is a thing. And of course, there is another guy who was Aaron Swartz. He has proposed this blockchain based system. What he said was, we will make proof of work to establish consensus. So as we were showing in the animation, the miners were actually working hard to seal a block. Why they were working hard? Because they have to create an exceptional hash value, which will have, or which will start with which will start with a specific number of zeros. That is a very difficult thing to achieve. So they have to really work hard to do anything, to achieve that particular thing. So they have to go on and use their resources to achieve that thing. So by doing this thing, what will happen is, you will be able to achieve consensus among the owners. But again, you are basically vulnerable to Sybil attack. I tell you what is a Sybil attack. But this particular solution is secure under the Byzantine assumptions. So now the first DNS, blockchain-based DNS, is a name coin. This implements the concepts of this one, and it is blockchain-based DNS, which stores the name value pair data on a blockchain. Since IP address and the domain, that is actually stored as a name value pair on the blockchain. And because it was using the name value pair, the domain name can only be 64 characters. You cannot have more than 64 characters in the domain. And it implemented a top-level .bit domain. Okay. And in the originally 120,000 domain names were registered, but only 28 were used. So this was defined in the year 2012. Okay. Then came Yammer DNS. Yammer DNS is also a blockchain-based DNS based on Yammer coin platform. There is another, like Bitcoin, there is something called as Yammer coin. Now, every owner has an associated private key to the payment address. I told you that every owner will have a wallet. So there will be a private key to the particular wallet. Now, owner can make changes to the DNS record by using his private key. Okay? He alone can modify or transfer the domain. Suppose now let us say .conference I am operating. Tomorrow some other conference organizer comes and I want to pay him money and he gives, I can transfer the ownership. Okay? So I have to just give my private key to him and he will become the owner for that. So these actions can be performed using the Yammercoin NDS. By using there is a beautiful UI also to do this one. So what is this Yamacoin NES? That is a name value storage database, and this is inspired based on the name value cryptocurrency only. And this entire data is distributed across the blockchain. So this is basically the Yamacoin NES thing. And then there is coming back to the Yammer DNS thing. You can easily retrieve the DNS record. See, that is the main issue. Suppose as an end user, I am trying to access a domain name. How will I retrieve it? So you can actually retrieve it by using a Yammercoin wallet, or you can use the command line, or you can use the standard DNS protocol which was defined in the RFC 1034, and you can get it. Or otherwise, what you can do is you can get a plugin downloaded for your browser. If you are using Firefox, you can download the plugin for that, which will get access. So whenever you are typing any domain name which belongs to .lib, .emc, .bazaar, it's a single Z, okay? You have to note this. Double Z actually belongs to somebody else. .bazaar and .coin. Your plugin will get activated, and it will fetch you the address of it. Okay, IP address of where to go. So you don't have to, whenever you are trying to access the domain name of this thing, you are not actually going to the DNS part. You are actually getting access here. Another example is BlockChain. This was originally built on Namecoin, but later migrated to Bitcoin blockchain. But the fundamental difference is, here the idea is, that there are so many cryptocurrencies today. You have Ethereum, you have so many Ripple, so many cryptocurrencies today. But this blockchain is unique in the way that they created a top level virtual blockchain on top of the existing blockchain network, so that you can migrate the data in the virtual chain from this node to any block. Today, let us say you are in Bitcoin. Tomorrow you can migrate to Ethereum, or day after tomorrow you can migrate it to completely to Ripple coin, and things like that. That transfer of data from one particular blockchain network to another is very easy, because they have created an abstract layer on top of the existing network. So that is the big work of BlockChain, and that is why BlockChain is popular, and it is having its own domain name creation system where you can create your own domain name, etc. So this the underlying blockchain network will be used for achieving consensus and maintaining integrity of it. This is all possible. Another one, of course, everybody might be knowing about Ethereum cryptocurrency. The Ethereum, that public addresses are still in valid addresses having big numbers. Suppose if you are, I want to give you some ETH coins to you, I will not be able to remember that address. I have to copy and paste from somewhere, and then I have to do it. Instead of doing that, what if you have a domain name kind of thing? So that is the idea of Ethereum name service. So what they have done here is, anyone who wants, you can actually, let us say you can buy a domain, ETH domain, and you will be mapped into a Ethereum public valid address. And one more thing what you can do is, since you are owning a domain name, you can configure subdomains below. Now let us say if I am owning .conference, tomorrow I can actually create ICIRE .conference, and day after tomorrow I can actually create PKIA.conference, etc. Because I am the owner of the .conference domain, I can create subdomains. This is something like this. So if Alice owns alice.eth, then she can create irf.alice.eth if she desires. But there is one small catch is here, it is only for .eth. You cannot create anything like .conference or something is not possible in this Ethereum network, because this is only meant for the users of the Ethereum network, and this is deployed on top of the Ethereum network. So blockchain based DNS services are getting popular and getting used, but there is a catch here, because one catch is that verifying the claim of the owner that he owns a particular domain, that is a big catch. So we don't know whether he is the legitimate owner of that particular thing or not. That is a big issue there. And a lot of nefarious websites operate domain names using this blockchain DNS. So all shadow activities and things like that, they try to escape the radar. So they try to get a domain name registered to the blockchain network, and they try to do it. And cyber attack is basically attackers will try to fill the network with the clients that they control. Let us say that there are 10 nodes in a blockchain network, and in they are trying to control 4 to 5 nodes are under the control of a attacker or a hacker. Now there is a possibility that you may, as an end user, you may actually wrongly connect to their one of the false nodes, because you don't know. In a peer-to-peer network, you don't know who is the legitimate person and who is the illegitimate person. You may wrongly connect to the attacking node or the attacker's node. So what will happen is then attacker can play any game to you. He can actually send addresses only to you, and he can actually do some censorship of it, or he can give some spoofed data. All those things are again possible in the cyber attack. So to prevent this cyber attack, again you have to have more number of nodes and more consensus mechanisms to be available. So this is about the blockchain based DNS network. So this is a very quick session. That there have been any questions here? Anything you would like to have? Are you able to understand the concepts? Yeah, one question, please. Yeah, there are many people who are using blockchain based DNS. They have registered their own domains also, and it is quite fair and easy also. You can also spend very little money and you can get your own domain. That's not it.
Even in government sector?
No, government sector not at all. Privately, I am saying. India, you ask me about India, there is so many digital currency and crypto players are there, so they can actually use it. Government